Todd, there's an opportunity, hopefully as soon as tomorrow, to actually clinch the playoff spot. I know you're looking up in the standings as well. But what would it mean to get that X beside the team's name and be in?
Well, that's the next task I think our team has, and the first opportunity is tomorrow, and that's really all it is an opportunity and a chance to play against a very good team. They were in here a week ago. They're going to be a hungry group. They know where they are in the standings as well, and the opportunity tomorrow is a big one for our team. But we're not making too much out of it. That's all it is. And as we've moved on in these past few weeks, we've always parked the last game, and the last, whether it's been good, bad, ugly, great, it gets parked and we move on to the next day and try and get better. So tomorrow's that opportunity. We'll see what we do with it. I'd like to think we come out with a real good effort, and then we move on.
Todd, in your time here with Leon Draisaitl, he's gone from a player who needed a little bit more time in the American League to now elite level from a points standpoint. What's the biggest change you've seen in him, maybe from back then to where he sits right now?
In my mind, he's just grown up, and I don't mean physically, and I don't mean he was immature and unprofessional in the past. He's just matured. He's matured mentally. He's matured systematically with structure. He has more courage to do things on the ice. He does play with a little more risk, but the reward has gone up as well. And he's skating better. He just flat out is a better, stronger, more determined skater that can sustain carrying around heavy bodies for a longer period.
Since you cut his minutes back, he's sort of really exploded offensively. Is there a correlation between those two things?
I'm sorry?
Since you cut his minutes back, his points have really exploded. Is there a correlation between?
Did I cut Leon's minutes back?
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't a plan then, obviously. Where Leon probably gave up a few minutes was in the penalty kill. We were using him penalty killing, and we're not using him there as much. At one point he was the go-to guy face-off wise. He still might be, but we're probably overplaying him and overstressing him. And we cut that back a little bit, but it came in that area. We allowed him to still be creative offensively, but with that comes defensive responsibility, and we're still on him for that.
Todd, Drake Caggiula has taken a little bit of a bump offensively recently. Is that just a follow-up of him playing better overall? Have you seen an improvement in his game since he sat out a few?
I have. Rest for the young man. Like it's a taxing season, so he had I think he had 3 games off in a row. There was a good rest period there. He also went back to his natural position of left wing. We've tried him at center. We've tried him at right. Put him back on the power play and showed confidence in him. But he's earned that confidence. He's played well, and that power play unit has produced. So, it's come that way. I also think he's playing with a really smart center, and they seem to click right now. So those are perhaps some factors for his resurgence.
Todd, anything new on Benning's status?
Yeah, he was close to skating today. He doesn't have a broken foot or a broken leg or anything like that. He took a shot, and there's a little bit of swelling. Will he play tomorrow? We'll see how he is in the morning. But I expect him to be on the ice tomorrow, and as the week goes on, if we don't play him tomorrow, certainly be available to us on whenever we play again.
Just one more on Leon for me, Todd. You challenged him earlier this season to be the best player on the ice every night, despite the fact that he was out there with Connor. Do you think that maybe resonated with him a little bit, the idea that he could be? Did you think he took that challenge that way?
Well, I think and I've seen it sometimes with some of the other high-end players where you automatically or innately just take the second seat to him because he is supposed to. Connor's supposedly or is the best player or one of the best players in the world, so I have to be number 2. It doesn't have to be that way every night. You guys can fight for that right or that position. You can throw Nuge and Ebbs and Luch and a number of other players into that mix. There's nothing wrong with internal competition. Even being on the same lines, they push each other. And I can tell you those 2 players are close. They care about each other. For as much as Connor plays, he's pulling Leon along, and Leon's pushing Connor. And that combination of 2 has been really good, and Patty's fit them well. standing here today, a moment that I reflect on and look back during our year was in game 3 or 4, maybe against Buffalo. We came to training camp. We had a good camp. We were alert. We paid attention to detail. We worked our butts off. We had a couple good games against Calgary, and maybe, I don't know if Carolina was in there somewhere, maybe Buffalo was game 4. And when we played against Buffalo, I saw a lot of habits, a lot of body language, a lot of commitment issues that we've perhaps seen in the past. And, as you recall, there was a big kerfuffle about flipping a day off and all that type of stuff. That day off ended up not being a whipping boy skate like everybody thought it was going to be. It was a structured practice where we clarified things again. We had as much work off the ice as we did on the ice. And to me, that set our team up to get going, and that was going to be the tone we were going to have all year. We weren't going to let it slip. And, from that point on, players, we had good stretches and bad stretches, and by no means are we done yet. But it became very business-like every day, and we needed that. And I just think that was a moment. Did it turn the light on that we would have a chance to fight for first place? No, but it was something that needed to happen.
Todd, all your remaining games in the regular season against the division opponents, how much do you kind of look at it as not there's points on the table, but obviously an opportunity to kind of set the tone for a potential matchup down the road?
Well, we don't know who we're going to match up against. There's a range of teams in our own division, and there's also teams in the other division if we ever get that little X by our name. That's the asterisk, I guess you called it. We need to work to that first and then worry about everything else later. But, we'll continue to approach the games one at a time. We'll play them hard. And, once that asterisk comes, we'll begin to look at who our opponents may be or could be. And, sometimes if you're playing against them in game 78 and you're going to play against them in game 1, you play your game and that's it. You don't show your hand too much either.
Todd, you the one defense pair that's played pretty much the whole season are the two Swedish players. How much emphasis is it to find one pairing that always stays together and how they help one another out? I mean, is Oscar taking some of Adam's strengths and vice versa?
I think that's a good observation. I think that's fair. When the Larson trade was made and we kind of announced we'd start him with Clough, I think two Swedes playing together, that's natural. It's not that way. Lefty, righty, physicality, shot, puck mover, more defender. They complemented each other, and they have been together for most of the season. They are, they're very firm with each other, the two of them. They take care of each other, but they challenge each other as well. And I think Clough needed that, and I think Lars provides that. And as a result, they've become a pretty darn good pair.